Hi, I'm Brian. Kettle's on, make yourself a cup of tea. Now today I want to talk about the upcoming Spider-Man 3 film and a rumour which has emerged about it. Now there's already been a lot of rumours surrounding this film in regards to it possibly being a multiverse film with Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield possibly coming back to it, but they are being unconfirmed. We do know Jamie Foxx is back as Electro, and due to the end of Far From Home, we know that J.K. Simmons is back as J. Jonah Jameson. But this article here, I found while researching something completely different. I just happened to stumble across this, and this is more interesting. So, the article is on GWW, Geeks Worldwide, and it says, Rumour, Alfred Molina returns as Doctor Octopus in Spider-Man 3. I know I've been teasing for some time, but finally got the green light to share some very cool Spider-Man 3 info with you. A source within Disney Marvel has informed GWW that Alfred Molina will be returning to Spider-Man franchise to reprise his role as the famed Doctor Octopus. Plot details are of course scarce, as they always are with the super secretive Marvel productions. But we were informed Molina arrived on set a bit ago to work on some stunt choreography and has started filming his scenes in the past couple of weeks. The source assured us that Molina was in full Doc Ock mode, but couldn't confirm as to whether this version of the tentacle-laden Doctor was the same from the Raimi Spider-Man 2 or a new version. Either way, with Fox joining, Doctor Strange having a pivotal role, and now Molina entering the fold, it seems very clear that the multiverse will play a big role in the next Spider-Man film, and we could also finally see a version of the Sinister Six hit the big screen. It's also curious to note, back in 2014, when Drew Goddard was set to direct a Sinister Six film, Molina was asked in an interview with Collider if he would be willing to return to the iconic role, and here's what he said. That was the most fun I think I've ever had on a movie of that kind. Those big sort of features where you spend like 6 months hanging off a wire, you know, it was the first movie of that kind I've ever been involved in, he continues. I had a wonderful time, I loved it, I'd go back and do it again in a heartbeat. Unfortunately though, while this particular source has provided us with information before, like the Skrull appearance in Far From Home and a surprise drop of the WandaVision trailer, both of which I didn't believe at the time, we are taking this information with a grain of salt, as I could not get anyone else to collaborate, and I asked everybody. This also isn't a surprise though, as filming is happening on a closed set away from prying eyes, and we know how much Marvel likes its secrets. We also reached out to Marvel themselves, but got no response. And it just goes on to say, Spider-Man 3 is directed by John Watts, currently stars Tom Holland, Zendaya, Jamie Foxx and Benedict Cumberbatch, and is scheduled for release on December 17th, 2021. Obviously that release date will depend on if any more of the Marvel films get pushed back next year. So, what do we think? Do we think this rumour could be true? I, for one, would like to think it could be true. His role as Doc Ock in Spider-Man 2 was fantastic. Spider-Man 2 is one of my favourite films, not just superhero films. I do think it is up there as one of the best superhero films that I've seen. We know Jamie Foxx is back, who was Electro in the Amazing Spider-Man 2, but Jamie Foxx has said he is playing a different version of Electro to the one that was in that film. This could be the same with Alfred Molina. He could be playing a different version of Doctor Octopus from what we saw in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man 2. But it does give a very interesting notion that we could be seeing the multiverse. We know Doctor Strange is in the film, and the Doctor Strange 2 film is the Multiverse of Madness. And I do think it would make sense for the MCU to go this way. Disney have just bought Fox, they've acquired that, so they've acquired the rights to Fantastic Four and X-Men. Now we know they are planning on doing a Fantastic Four film, but also in regards to X-Men, the multiverse might be a way to organically bring them into the MCU. All the X-Men obviously have the X gene, and it wouldn't make too much sense for them just to turn up out of nowhere. The MCU now has been going for over 10 years, and you can't just suddenly have a group of mutants turn up when they've not been mentioned in over 20 films. It just wouldn't make sense. So for them to do the multiverse could be a way of bringing them in from a parallel universe, from another Earth, and integrating them into the story there. Obviously, the multiverse is a huge part of the comics and has been in the cartoons. Not just in Spider-Man, but in a lot of Marvel comics, the multiverse has been there. But back to the story, I would personally love to see Alfred Molina back as Doctor Octopus. He was fantastic in the role. And we've got Jamie Foxx back as Electro. And we've got back J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson, which in my opinion has been the best casting in any superhero movie. J.K. Simmons in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man was hands down absolutely perfect. He's been the most perfect person for a role any superhero movie there's been. So with Jamie Foxx and J.K. Simmons on board, and now this rumour of Alfred Molina coming on board, could we see Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield coming back? I mean, that has not been confirmed. That is still just a rumour, much like this is. But if Fox and Molina do come back, I would like to see some form of multiverse story with maybe Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield back. There's been no major villain announced for Spider-Man 3 yet. It is possible that Venom might turn up, but with Sony's Venom film and Venom 2 being produced, I don't know if that would happen. But we've definitely got Electro back, possibly getting Doctor Octopus back, and I don't think Marvel or Disney would leave it at 2 returning villains from other iterations of the films. I do think they would add more in. So, do we think this could be setting it up for a Sinister Six film? I mean, it's not been done before. I do think Marvel could put it up for the MCU, but we will have to wait and see on further developments and press releases of what gets released on the film. But what do you guys think? Do you believe the rumour? Are you excited for him to return to the role if it is true? Do let me know in the comments down below. And that's all from me. I'm off to make a fresh cup of tea.